Cross the river at daybreak, douse the fire but the coals are still warm. You could have gotten far.
Hello, my name is Alexander Saddic, and I'm here in my home studio in Nashville, Tennessee. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down the studio session that my friend Michael Conley did with me for his song Dead or Alive. Michael has been one of my favorite singer-songwriters in town for a long time, and I kind of made him do this song because it's my favorite one of his songs. It's just a really cool song. His voice sounds amazing on it, and the guitar part is really creative, I think. To record the guitar for this song, I used two VR2 microphones from SE. Those are ribbon microphones. I put them in a Blumlein configuration, which, if you're not familiar, is when you get two figure-8 microphones, one above, one below, and you put them perpendicular to each other. The front side of both microphones picks up the source, and the back side picks up the room, so you get a really good roomy but still very focused sound. On the vocals, I used this exact V7 that I'm speaking into right now. I prefer using a dynamic microphone on vocals in live situations, even though condensers and ribbons are amazing for vocals and are usually the go-to in the studio. But the rejection that these offer is perfect when you're recording an instrument at the same time. And this microphone sounds amazing, so. All three of the microphones were plugged directly into my Allen & Heath ZR16. That's this board right in front of me. This board does allow you to record the EQs into the computer, but I have them bypassed for this recording. I just wanted to record flat, get the true sound of the microphone, and do all the EQ in post. That's really it for the recording process. It's just 3 mics, 3 preamps directly into the computer. As far as processing goes, I kept it really simple. When you have a good source and good microphones, there's no reason not to keep it simple. I've got 3 stock Logic EQs on all 3 microphones. They're all high-passed above 43, and the vocal channel is high-passed above 90, just to get a little bit of the low end of the guitar out of the vocal microphone. They're all low-passed above 15,000, just because this room is not perfectly treated, and sometimes you can hear a little bit of air conditioning and other things. It's just my basement. And then following those EQs, every channel has a LA2A on it. The LA2A that I use is by Black Rooster Audio. Even though the guitars were recorded in stereo, I kind of agree with the Chris Lord-Alge sort of school of thought that even on stereo sources, each side should be independently compressed, just because each side is picking up audio differently, and it's going to feel more natural for them to compress on their own rather than to have both sides squeezing down when only one side is peaking beyond the threshold. I appreciate the argument that doing that can keep the vocals out of the center, or in the case of drums, can keep the snare drum out of the center, but I haven't found that to be something super noticeable or hard to deal with. And in the event of this song, the microphone on the left actually picked up a lot more vocal than the microphone on the right anyway, and I actually panned the vocals slightly to the right to offset that and make it feel more centered anyway, so compression would not have affected it one way or the other, really. As far as effects go, I have 2 instances of the TSAR1 by Softtube. I have one set darker and shorter. It's just my short reverb, kind of a room tone, and then the second instance is a brighter, longer reverb. I blended them about equally. Every microphone is going to the reverbs the exact same amount. I didn't want this to be one of those dry guitar, reverby vocals situations. I wanted it to feel live because it is live, and I wanted it to feel cohesive. I also have a stock Logic Echo set to a quarter note, but the quarter note is somewhat arbitrary in this instance because we did not use a click track, and I didn't even try to guess the BPM. I just have it set to the quarter note at the 120 that the project defaults to. In the master section, I have 2 EQs, mostly just getting rid of a little bit of the boom and accentuating a little bit of the high, followed by an LA2A once again. I think using the same compressor on the master as in all 3 of the channels kind of keeps a consistent character. After that, I have an F6 by Waves. F6 is a dynamic EQ, and I don't even have the EQ attenuating or boosting anything by default. I just have the dynamic setting on the low end at 182 and 96, just when it peaks beyond the threshold, just to control some of the boominess. And then after that, I have the Waves API 2500 compressor. I love this compressor for mastering. In this instance, I actually used the acoustic guitar preset and just tweaked it a little bit. Even though it's also got the vocal, it's an acoustic song. I think this preset works really well. I have one instance of the Waves X noise here. As you can see, I have it on the absolute lowest setting. I didn't really want it to do anything super notable. I just wanted to catch that last bit of room hiss that the EQ didn't quite catch. It does an amazing job. But I think in general, noise reduction plugins, they can be really helpful, but there's always artifacts if you use them more than sparingly. So I really don't like to do more than the absolute minimum with these. And then lastly, I have Ozone 10 by Isotope. There's just a little EQ going on, tiny little bit of imaging, stereo widening. And lastly, the maximizer. And I have this thing absolutely crushed. I like loud masters. I know that's sometimes controversial. I like them really loud. And this limiter in particular, you can smash almost anything and it doesn't pump. It's very transparent. I don't know how they did it, but they're mad scientists and I'm here for it. That's all. That's the whole thing. I think this song came out great, largely due to Michael being amazing at what he does. He plays so consistently every time. It never requires a lot of work. He's just one of the best. In addition to that, I had great mics to record it on thanks to SE, and you don't really need anything more than that. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed the session, and have a great day.